I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get it, no call it quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, strap, seal my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no giving. Some days I don't hit, I don't slay. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. They don't want it when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads whizzing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem. I ain't perfect. Let them watch me elevating. Got them noxious. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the housing. Woo! Watch how I get it here. Watch how I get it here. Watch how I get it here. Woo!
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my final thoughts for UFC 274. We have Charles Oliveira going against Justin Gaethje. I cannot wait to talk about this card. And I do want to apologize, guys. I'm doing this 2 hours earlier. It was either like earlier or nothing at all, so I did want to get something out. Obviously, a lot to talk about, so can't wait to talk it through with you guys. I've not talked fight since like Sunday. It's been a while. A lot has happened, obviously. But yeah, looking forward to getting right back into it. I do have 5 bets this week. Big bets, though. I have my first max bet of the year, and it's going to be on that main event. Can't wait to talk about that. It should be a very fun card. Before we get started, as always, guys, if you guys can please leave a like, subscribe here to DFS by the Numbers. Also, do me a favor and go subscribe over to the MMA Engine YouTube channel, doing a ton of content over there. And then I'll be moving this show over onto the MMA Engine YouTube channel officially. I think we said next week. So if you guys are wondering where I'm at, I will be over there. So I say we get right into it. 15 fights to talk about. A lot of stuff that happened at the weigh-ins as well. Brandon saying, can't believe it. What is up, Brandon? AB saying, first, what is up? Sanders saying, yes, let's go. Can finally catch it live. I got Olives by sub for plus money. And then saying, I just saw he missed weight. Yes, he did. We'll talk about that. Hank saying, Carla by sub, Gaethje by KO. Riley saying, let's go. Let's go, Riley. We got Mike saying, what's up, my dude? What is up? How you doing? Drama show. Yes. Yeah. Well, I cannot believe it. T-Rex saying, oh, man, I feel for Charles. Absolutely. It's brutal. Absolutely brutal. Eric saying, what is up? What is up, Eric? Charles is going to sleep. I think somebody is going to sleep. He looked like the Grim Reaper. He did. He looked really bad. Charles putting his arms like a dummy. Tony Time. Yeah, Tony Time's coming up. So bummed about Oliveira missing weight. Yeah, it's definitely a big bummer for sure. Gaethje by KO round 1 or 2, plus 330. Hank, where's that line at? Let me know. That's a good line. All that talk for Oliveira gaining muscle, like, come on. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. There's a lot of stuff going on there about, like, the scales being messed up. I don't know. It's crazy. Yep, we're not talking about it. Apparently, there was an issue with the scale backstage, but that's currently a rumor, I believe. Yeah, I think it was Carnelossi that was saying that. So, who knows? It's a mess, but I say we get into it, guys. Already 64 of you in here. I don't expect it to be a big show because I am going off schedule here, but I do appreciate everybody that's hanging out now. And I do appreciate everybody that's going to watch later. And, of course, if you guys can hit that like. And, Hank, it's on fan. Yeah, that's a good line for Gaethje especially. But we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about all these fights. A little bit out of order here, but I say we get into it. We'll start with Andre Fiallo going against Cameron VanCamp. And at the time, whenever I broke down this fight, I did not have the lines. I did expect Fiallo to be a big favorite. And, minus 415, it does sound about right to me. I mean, I heard about this fight on Saturday, and I was really upset because I was already prepared to break down the whole card by Saturday or Sunday, and they kind of threw a curveball at me. I was like, why does this matchup makes no sense? Fiallo just fought, and Cameron VanCamp was supposed to fight a couple months back against Nicholas Mata. Just seemed like a terrible, terrible matchup for VanCamp. And, we see that Fiallo is the biggest favorite on the card for a reason. I think Fiallo comes out here. I think he finishes him in the first round. Cameron VanCamp's going to have to get this fight down to the mat in the first round. If not, he's going to get knocked out. VanCamp does seem, a little bit hittable, seems to rely on his chin at times, and you're not going to want to do that to Fiallo. Fiallo does seem like he has really good takedown defense. And, again, just a weird matchup that doesn't make much sense to me. But, hey, Fiallo probably comes out here, and he probably starches VanCamp in that very first round. I will say if VanCamp can get out of that first round, I do think he's going to have a chance. Fiallo does slow down as the fight goes on, but I think Fiallo gets it done and probably gets it done in round one. Minus 415 for Fiallo is not something I'm interested in. Fiallo by KO, though, minus 135. Like, if you like Fiallo, might as well take that minus 415 and turn it into that minus 135. I don't see Fiallo obviously subbing VanCamp. I guess Fiallo could win a decision, but I think it's a first-round knockout, honestly. So from a DraftKings perspective, I was able to get all my lineups in and all that, and I do have a decent amount of Fiallo, probably one of my favorite plays on the slate. I think he has first-round knockout upside. And as far as VanCamp, just can't really get there. I mean, if he wins, he's going to have to get takedowns, and I just don't know if it's going to happen. So I like Fiallo to win. I like Fiallo to win by first-round knockout. I'm not sure what the odds are on that first-round knockout. I'm not sure if they have props out for that yet, but I think that is indeed what happens. So Fiallo for me and Fiallo in the first round. What is up, Cole? How you doing? I can't believe the way people are reacting to a weight. It's crazy. Like Charles Oliveira was like minus 200 just about like yesterday, and now like he's like minus 120. It's crazy, but yeah, like Gaethje's already down to plus 120. Like it's crazy. Fiallo is a lot. Fiallo is probably the safest pick on the card. You got to think it's just a bad matchup for. It's a really bad matchup for VanCamp. Please don't put money on Justin. I'm not putting money on Justin, but we'll talk about it. A lot of people are. If you take a look at Twitter, a lot of people are running to the window to bet Justin, and we'll kind of talk about why they're doing that. But no distance is a parlay piece. Yeah, I agree. I think fight doesn't get a decision, minus 325. Honestly, that probably is a little bit short. I think this fight does finish more often than not. I didn't see what they open up the over-under at, but I'm assuming it's 1.5. Probably does go under as well. Jacob's saying, for sure, Fiallo round 1 KO. I like it. And Brandon's still sticking to Charles. Yeah, I picked Charles too. I think I'm going to stick with that as well, but just not something you want to see. Mike thinking the line's going to flip. That would be very interesting. Very interesting. All right, we'll keep moving on. We have Fernie Garcia going against Journey Newson. Yeah, not much interest in this fight. I do think there is some recency bias. Newson just got knocked out in his last fight against Randy Costa. Fernie Garcia went out there and put on a very good performance, getting his very first knockout win on the Contender Series. I think the line's kind of nuts here. I think it should be a lot closer, and it looks like it has been trending that way throughout the week. I'm not tempted enough to bet Journey Newson, but I just think it's going to be a close fight. If anything, I'd take the dog shot on Journey Newson there, but nothing that really sticks out a ton in terms of the props. I did see like the scorecards equals no action for Journey Newson was interesting. It was like plus 130. Me and Weezy talked about that Sunday on Stat Diggers, and the reason I like that is Journey Newson, 66% finish rate. And then, like I said, Fernie Garcia, in his last fight, he got his very first knockout. So I think the scorecards equals no action for Newson at plus money is interesting. That means that if the fight goes to decision, the bet's voided. If Newson wins inside the distance, the bet hits. And if Garcia wins inside the distance, the bet loses. And I really do not see Garcia finishing this fight. I think if Garcia wins, it is by decision. But yeah, that's kind of where I'd look. But yeah, nothing jumping out. As far as DraftKings, again, nothing really jumping out. Not a fight I'm excited to target. If anything, it's Newson for that dog money. But I'll take Newson as far as a pick, but just not a ton of confidence in that. Lupita Godinez, minus 175 is the best line on the card. Yeah, I'm going Lupi as well. I don't know if it's the best line on the card, though, but I do think she wins. Over 1.5 is a good look. You think in the Garcia-Newson fight, yeah, even like the over like 2.5 would be decent, right? Like, I don't know if there's going to be a finish in this fight. It went from plus 140-ish earlier today to Bovada at plus 120. Talking about Gaethje there. Plus 115, my goodness. What's up, Dave? How you doing? Brady, saying my parlay is Fiallo KO, Ivanov, Chandler Ferg over 1.5, and all of Gaethje fight doesn't go. I think your parlay hits there. All right, let's keep moving on. We have Lupita Godinez going against Ariana Carnelossi. Yeah, earlier in the week, I was flipping back and forth on this fight, like back and forth. And ultimately, I ended up on the Lupi side because I think whoever is going to wrestle in this fight is going to have success. And I lean towards it being Lupi. I really like how active she is with her takedowns. And Carnelossi, she has a black belt in BJJ for what it's worth, but I do see Lupi getting this fight down to the mat early and often. I think on the feet, it's going to be close and competitive. And I like Carnelossi. I like both fighters here, but like I said, I think it's going to be whoever is able to get on top is going to have that success. And Carnelossi showing a 25% takedown defense thus far, and it was because of that Na Liang fight where Liang was able to take her down very easily. And Na Liang is a very good wrestler for a couple minutes, but Lupi's a very good wrestler as well. So I think Lupi's going to get takedowns here. I think she's going to get control time. But again, this could be a very close fight. And this is another fight we talked about on Stat Diggers where the scorecards equals no action. I believe it's plus money for Carnelossi, which does not make much sense. Like Lupi Godinez a 28% finish rate and Carnelossi a 78% finish rate. If there's a finish in this fight, I kind of think it's Carnelossi, but this fight probably does go to decision. It is probably competitive, but I do like Lupi and actually like her by decision. I did a best bet article today. I think Lupi by decision at plus 100 would be the way to go rather than laying the minus 185. I don't see Lupi submitting Carnelossi, and obviously she's not going to knock her out. So yeah, Lupi at plus 100 doesn't actually sound bad to me, but going to side with Lupi here as far as a DK perspective. 9,000, no thank you. If anything, it's Carnelossi, but again, another fight that I'm not too interested in terms of the DraftKings aspect of things. So Lupi as far as a pick, but don't love the line, but hey, I don't mind that plus 100 by decision. I think that's how she wins. Brady, I took the over 2.5 in the Vergara fight at minus 118 and moved to minus 130. What do you think? I think you beat some line movement, and I think it hits as well. That was another one that stuck out to me early in the week. Did not quite get there to pull the trigger on it. Can never count out Charles, though. You can't. Hot take of the week is Ariana inside the distance. Yeah, I think if this fight does end inside the distance, I do think it's the Ariana side. Dumb that Olives can't win the belt and Justin can. Yeah, it sucks. It definitely does suck. I think Lupita is the better striker and the better wrestler. I definitely think the wrestling's going to win it for her. Do the looped pull and your shoes are looking cool. I like it. Hype for the next one. Yeah, me as well. We'll keep moving on, guys. Going to quickly go through these. We have Kletzen Rodriguez going against CJ Vergara. We have Rodriguez, who is minus 350, and then Vergara, who is plus 285. And I really like Kletzen Rodriguez. This guy's an absolute beast. His striking's so good. He mixes it up very well to the legs, to the body. Just a very, very good striker. On top of that, this guy's well-rounded. His takedown defense looks like it does need some work, but hey, he gets taken down. He pops right back up. He has good cardio as well. Just, a lot of things to like about Kletzen Rodriguez. The one thing I don't like is obviously the line minus 350 is definitely a steep price tag, but I do think this does stay standing for the most part. And really, I just think Rodriguez is the better striker. I think he's going to have higher output. I think he's going to mix it up better. And Vergara is very tough, though. Vergara never been knocked out, only been subbed. I did see some people taking a shot at that submission prop on Rodriguez, which was, Rodriguez by submission plus 400 is interesting, but I kind of like Rodriguez by decision, which is plus 155. And then like Brandon said, I like that over. The over is like minus 130, he said. I think that's still very solid. Earlier in the week, it was like around minus 110, minus 120. I like that. But yeah, I think this does go over. Both guys very, very tough. Maybe Rodriguez can finish him, but like I said, Vergara is very tough. From a DraftKings standpoint, though, we have Rodriguez, who is 9,400, which is a ton. There are some other fighters up top that I do like. I like Fiallo more, 9,500. I think Fiallo is going to go out there and start VanCamp and around. Whereas Rodriguez, I kind of just see him picking apart Vergara for 3 rounds. Not really getting a finish. Maybe it's possible, but I kind of see a decision, volume-based, no wrestling. So I do think there's better options up top at 9K, but I do like Rodriguez to win. As far as a parlay piece, I have no parlays this week, but yeah, I think Rodriguez is not a terrible parlay piece. I do think he wins more often than not. As far as Vergara, 6,800. Not going to have a ton of him, honestly. I don't really see much finish upside. I don't really see much takedown upside. If he does take down Rodriguez, I see Rodriguez getting right back up. And like I said, on the feed, it's going to be Rodriguez all day. So, yeah, I like Rodriguez a lot. We were supposed to see him fight Zaruk Adashev, I believe, a couple months ago. I actually taped that fight, and I thought he was going to knock out Zaruk Adashev. But we're going to see him now, and I think this guy has some serious potential. And he's young as well. I want to see how old he is. I want to say he's like 26 years old. Yeah, 26 years old for Kletzen. Like this guy has some upside, I'd say. So give me Kletzen Rodriguez. Give me Rodriguez to win by decision. And like I said, I think he's a solid parlay piece. Weezy and Lou put me on that line, the Kittle last night. Yeah, shout out to them for filling in. Shout out to Lou filling in. Was not able to catch that show last night, but nice. I'm glad they did well. Do you think the weight miss is better or worse for under bets? Because he might not be as aggressive as usual, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it can go either way. I hope it's better for some under bets, but, it can go either way. And I do think that I don't know if he's going to change his like style just because he missed weight. I don't know. What happened to Oliveira? Oliveira missed weight, therefore forfeiting the title. And now it's Gaethje is the one that can win it. And if Oliveira wins it, it's still vacant, which sucks. But Rodriguez looks explosive. Yeah, he's very explosive. Tapping in from the 302. What up with the homie? Hope all is well with you and yours on your end. Let's get after this card. I'm a little behind, so I'm a rewind. Well, appreciate you 302 for hanging out. It does mean a lot. Let's in decisionation. There you go. I like it. Looking lean at me, my man. Appreciate that, Morty. Do they just steal his pay-per-view points by not giving him a chance at the title? I'm not sure. I'll have to get more info on that. But yeah, just a really crappy situation all around. Charlie Olive's looked at on the scale. He's going to get TKO'd. And yeah, the other thing about that is, Gaethje posted a picture while Oliveira was still cutting weight. He was already up to like 166. So while Gaethje was rehydrating and all that good stuff, Oliveira was still killing himself to make weight, which is not ideal at all. But move on to the next fight. First bet of the night. I don't have a ton of action. And do I watch Bellator sometimes when I can? I can't now, but sometimes, especially if it's a really good card. Are you sure it's still vacant? Oliveira can't win the title. So yeah, it should be vacant, right? He can't win the title. But we will move on to the next fight. We have Tracy Cortez going against Melissa Gatto, and I do have my first bet of the night. And I have the scorecards equals no action on Melissa Gatto. This is one we talked about on Stat Daggers with Uncle Weezy, and this really stuck out to me a lot. So Bet Online had this line at like something crazy, like minus 240, minus 250. So I was like, okay, not going to bet that, obviously. And then they moved it down a little bit to minus 220, but DraftKings came out with it on Wednesday, and they have the finish only scorecards equals no action for Melissa Gatto at minus 125. And I believe it's still minus 130, which I still think is nuts. Like, I think Tracy Cortez wins this fight more often than not. I think Cortez is able to take down Melissa Gatto and able to control her for 15 minutes, right? But if there's a finish in this fight, you've got to believe it's going to be Melissa Gatto. Gatto, very dangerous anywhere the fight goes. We saw she was dangerous on her feet against both Victoria Leonardo and Ciara Eubanks. And then on the mat, like, that's what she does. That's her bread and butter, throwing up arm bars off her back, getting submissions off her back. And she's going to, be on her back most of this fight, you got to believe, and that's where she's going to be comfortable. So I think it plays out like this. I think it's either Cortez taking down Gatto for 3 rounds and controlling her, or Gatto's able to catch Cortez in a submission at some point in the fight. So the minus 130, like, I think that is very off. Like I said, I think Cortez wins the fight, but if there's a finish in this fight, I just don't get how Melissa Gatto's only minus 130. You have Cortez with the worst finish rate on the entire card, actually, at 22%. And then you have somebody in Gatto who is obviously very, very dangerous anywhere the fight goes. So yeah, I have 1.25 units on that finish only, minus 125. Like I said, it's still minus 130 on DraftKings last time I checked. I think that's a very good line. I think Cortez by decision is a very good line, plus 120. I do not see her finishing Gatto. But yeah, I think that was a really good way to play it. Kind of like last week, we had the Mearshart finish only, scorecards equals no action. And then the Jocko decision could play the Gatto scorecards equals no action. And then the Tracy Cortez decision, something like that. But I really like that Gatto line. So, yeah, the final pick for me is going to be Cortez, 3-round decision. But the bet is going to be Melissa Gatto scorecards equals no action. And again, if you guys have not heard about that or know what that is, it means that the fight goes to decision, the bet is voided. If Cortez wins inside the distance, the bet loses. And if Gatto wins inside the distance, the bet hits. So I do like that quite a bit. As far as DraftKings goes, I like both fighters here. I like Cortez, 8,700. If she wins, you got to expect takedowns, control time, all the good stuff for 3 rounds. And then if Gatto wins, you probably got to expect a finish at some point, whether it's something off her back. Again, she's dangerous on the feet as well. So I do like both sides on DraftKings. I think it's a somewhat sneaky fight to target on DraftKings. But my first bet of the night is that scorecards equals no action. Tracy trains. Yeah, I've heard that a lot this week, and I've barely been on Twitter, and I've heard that a lot, which is funny. But yeah, she does. She's with Ortega. I got Gatto by sub plus 600.2 units on FanDuel. Yeah, that's probably how she wins. That's honestly probably how she wins. I can't pull up props or anything on Gaethje and Oliveira on Bovada right now. Yeah, Bovada is weird with that sometimes. Sometimes they take the lines off. I like the Gatto by finish only bet here. Yeah, I like that a lot, quite a bit. I think it probably voids, but I think at that line you got to play it. Let's see here. I got Gatto finish only available minus 110. It just makes no sense. Minus 110 is crazy to me. Good thing either of these cute girls didn't have to fight Carnelossi and those 20-inch guns. Yeah, I agreed. But yeah, good line there. I like that a lot. Minus 110 on FanDuel. Gatto finish. Is it so? FanDuel says calls it the decision no bet. So decision no bet on FanDuel's minus 110. I think that's nuts if it is, and I missed it, so that sucks. But I do like my minus 125. All right, we'll keep moving on here to the next fight. We have Francisco Trinaldo going against Danny Roberts, probably my least favorite fight on the entire card. We have a pick'em each way. I just don't see how anybody can be really confident either way. It's probably going to decision. It's probably going to be a very close fight. I ever so slightly lean to Danny Roberts for these reasons. Danny Roberts is going to be so much younger, 9 years younger. Trinaldo is 43 years old, and typically you can get away with that at heavyweight. Like we saw Olenek get a win, we saw Arlovsky get a kind of a robbery win, but typically you can see that at heavyweight, right? But you do not see that often at this weight class. I know Guido Canetti finished Chris Moutinho at like 43 years old, but that's Chris Moutinho. Danny Roberts is an actual UFC fighter. And then on top of that, Roberts is going to be much bigger, much younger. So for that reason alone, I do lean towards the Danny Roberts side. But yeah, this is a mess. It's going to be very close. And most Trinaldo fights have been very close. You take a look at the last couple ones. The White Grant was a very close fight. He was losing against Jai Herbert up until that third round. I thought, Herbert was about to win, and then Trinaldo caught him late. Just some other close fights as well. So probably a close fight. That's why it's a pick'em. It's been a pick'em all week, actually, which is interesting. So the line's not moved all week, but I'll take Roberts with little to no confidence. It's a very, very close fight. But I do like Roberts ever so slightly. No bet on this fight for me. As far as DraftKings, don't really like anything on it. Yeah, just nothing really. So if anything, Trinaldo has a 52% finish rate, but Roberts has been finished 5 times in all of his losses. Roberts has never lost a decision. Trinaldo inside the distance is plus 300. Like if you like Trinaldo, like inside the distance is not the worst look just because Roberts gets finished every single time. But outside of that, nothing really sticks out at all. So pass for me, but the pick is going to be Roberts. Gatto inside the distance plus 300 on Bovada. Yeah, I mean, if you think Gatto wins, I think it's inside the distance. Feel like Robert's going to knock him out, but I don't care at all. Yeah, it's hard to care about this fight, honestly. Trinaldo still looks very spry for his age, just like Olenek. Yeah, I mean, this is a guy in Trinaldo who never ages. I feel like he's going to fight till he's like 45, which is nuts at this weight class. But yeah, I totally agree. All right, we will keep moving on. Before we do so, again, if you guys can please leave a like, 137 of you in here on a Friday. I know lots going on right now, lots of MMA going on as well. So thank you all for hanging out. And I do want to apologize once again for going a little bit out of schedule here. And then, but we had to get it done. So moving on, we have Blagoy Ivanov going against Marcos Rogério de Lima. And so I liked the fight doesn't go to decision a lot. I talked about it on Stat Taker Sunday with Uncle Weezy, and it was sitting right there. Minus 125 for the fight doesn't go to decision. Didn't pull the trigger on it, wake up the next day and it's gone. It's now minus 165, which I think that's good. But I kind of thought, hey, this is a very sneaky fight doesn't go to decision spot. We have Blagoy Ivanov, who has not had a fight finish inside the distance yet. I think it's like 5 or 6 fights in the UFC that have all won the distance. So I was like, hey, we might get a very good price on this fight doesn't go. And we did at minus 125 earlier in the week, but, missed out on that. It's been hit all week at this point. minus 165. I'm just going to pass. And I also had a hot take on Sunday that Ivanov is going to get his very first finish, and it's going to be by submission. And I thought, hey, I might get like 10-1 on that, right? Like, no, not at all. Ivanov by submission is only plus 400. So thought I had a hot take, but it looks like it's been hit, and it's been hit all week. But I do think this fight finishes more often than not. De Lima, more so a round one or bust guy, unless he's fighting like a Maurice Green. Typically, he goes out there, he looks really good in the first round, gets a first round knockout even. But we see more often than not when the fight does hit the second round, he just kind of falls off a cliff, and I kind of see that happening here. But Ivanov, it seems like a very, very good spot for him, because Ivanov is a guy that you just can't finish this guy. This guy has an absolute brick for a head, like the pound for pound, probably one of the biggest heads in the UFC division. That's why this guy's not going down. Like, this guy is fighting at heavyweight, 22 fights. The dude's never been knocked out, and he's faced guys that hit really hard, guys such as like Derek Lewis, Augustus Sakai, Tai Tuivasa, and he's eaten really hard shots from them. I think De Lima's round one or bust, and this line is honestly probably too short. Even I probably should be a bigger favorite, but I don't know. It's a heavyweight fight, kind of one I don't want to get too invested on. If anything, it's the fight doesn't go. I think it covers both sides. I think it covers De Lima round one, and it covers Ivanov 2 and 3. But where the line's at now, I think I'll just pass. I think it hits, but minus 165, I would have liked that minus 125 a little bit better. And then Ivanov by submission at plus 400. I was really expecting to get a much better line. Looks like the bookmakers are all over it, and people have been hitting that submission line all week. So as far as DK goes, I'm going to have a ton of ownership on this fight. I think Ivanov has some wrestling upside, honestly. I think he has submission upside. I think he has late finish upside. And then De Lima is a guy you always have to target on DraftKings, because if De Lima wins, it's most definitely going to be in the first round more often than not if it's a UFC caliber opponent. So from a DraftKings perspective, I like it. From a betting perspective, not so much, but I'll pick Ivanov to win. I'll take him to win by like a late submission. The scales are rigged. I don't know. That's the rumor. That is the rumor. The line on the main event is moving quick, and yeah, we'll talk about that line movement in a little bit when we get there. I'm actually curious to see what it's at, but yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about why it's moving as well. Trinaldo is more well-rounded. Yeah, you're probably right there, but he's 43. That's the thing. Blagoy Ivanov sub or decision plus 120. Hey, that's not terrible. That's not terrible at all. Love the Blagoy sub value. Yeah, I think it's live. I think it's very live, but I was expecting a better line. Was struggling to work out main event. Olive has way more ways to win, but is often vulnerable early. That is true. With the weight miss, I may take a late run on Gaethje. Yeah, we'll talk about ways to play that fight. I think it's very interesting. There's a lot of ways to play it. Steve said, have you seen Carnelossi's tweet? I talked about it a little bit earlier. Yeah, I did see it. She said like the scales were like messed up at like a half a pound, she said. But yeah, and then I think somebody else said it too. I forget who the other person was, but yeah, people are talking about it. I can see there being a documentary regarding the scales today. What a scandal. It is a scandal. It really is. Even I'll beat Derek Lewis in my eyes, so I like that bet, Brady. Yeah, the like Brandon said, that sub decision plus 120 on FanDuel definitely does have my interest. All right. Let's move on to the next fight. We have Chaos Williams going against Randy Brown. We have, I skipped one. I skipped two. Okay, there we go. Brandon Royval going against Matt Schnell. Okay, this is going to be a really good fight. Do not want to skip this one. All right, so we have Royval sitting at minus 220 and Matt Schnell sitting at plus 185. So, yeah, looks like money's been coming in on Schnell throughout the week, and I've watched literally zero content this week from other guys. I usually watch Clint on Monday. I like watching Cody, Dogger Pass podcast. Usually like watching them. Have not watched any of that, so I'm not sure who's on who this week, which I usually like to see. But yeah, it looks like people might be on Matt Schnell this week, and it doesn't make much sense to me. Like, I think that this is a very, very good spot for Brandon Royval. Like, if this line keeps closing, might even take a shot on him at like minus 200 if it gets there. I think it's a really bad match for Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell kind of has changed his style up his last couple fights. Yeah, this is a guy that typically likes getting into these wars, to these brawls early in his career. Like, go and watch a Matt Schnell fight from a couple years ago, and then go watch his fight against Tyson Nam. Like, there's a completely different Matt Schnell. He's going in there, he's being very technical, he's fighting very smart, it's not fun, but I mean, he's looking better. He's not getting knocked out, and he's doing that because I'm sure he knows he can't take a shot. Like, this guy's been knocked out 3 or 4 times at this point, 3 in the UFC. He got knocked out by those hammer fists from Sandoval that looked like they barely landed. And the guy's chin is not all that there. And I think he kind of changed his style up a little bit to kind of adjust to that. And, Brandon Royval is going to bring the war out of Matt Schnell. And if they go chin for chin, if they get into a war, are you going to favor a guy in Royval who's very tough? This guy can absolutely take a shot. Or are you going to favor the guy in Matt Schnell who cannot really take a shot whatsoever? And on top of that, you take a look at Royval and where he is getting beat at in the UFC, and it's people taking him down. All they want to do is take him down. Bontarin took him down 8 times. Pantoja took him down. Tim Elliott took him down. Brandon Moreno took him down. Matt Schnell doesn't take anybody down. So I just think it's a terrible matchup for Matt Schnell, and it looks like the money's coming in on him, which is interesting. But I do have a bet on this fight. Shout out to Uncle Weezy. Got to give him some props here. Last week, they released the lines very early for this card. And Uncle Weezy said, hey, they opened up the under 2.5 at plus 120, went and taped it, and I liked what I saw. Placed 2 units on that, and I like that bet quite a bit. It moved to like plus 100 like the next day. I still like that as well. And then you see all week this week, people are just betting that those unders and those fight doesn't go to decisions on this fight, and you can definitely see why. I think we got a very good line on that under 2.5 on those fight doesn't go to decisions because Brandon Royval went to decision in the UFC for the first time his last fight. But I think that changes here. I think he does go and finish this fight very early on. I think these two get into an absolute war, an absolute brawl, and I do favor Brandon Royval quite a bit. I think both guys can finish. Royval 85% finish rate, Matt Schnell 66% finish rate, and both guys can be finished. Schnell finished in 4 or 5 losses, and then Royval finished in 2 of 6 losses. Both guys, I think, can knock each other out. Both guys, I think, are live for submission. Matt Schnell, very dangerous off his back. Brandon Royval, black belt and BJJ. But I think it's Royval, and I think it's Royval by knockout here. So I have 2 units on the under 2.5 plus 120. I like the under. It looks like it's a very popular play this week, and rightfully so. I like Royval by knockout. Actually intrigued me. They have Royval by knockout at plus 400, and that's interesting. Like, Schnell's been finished by knockout 3 times in the UFC. I think a knockout prop is like interesting at plus 400 there. Looks like Royval inside the distance is minus 110. That's solid. But yeah, Royval by knockout plus 400 is very intriguing. I think that's how he wins, and I think it's early as well. But yeah, regardless, the under, the fight doesn't go. I like it a lot. 2 units on it, plus 120. On DraftKings, I love Brandon Royval. I think he finishes Schnell. I think he finishes him very early on here. And it's just going to be a really fun fight. I cannot wait for this fight. It's going to be really good. But yeah, I like Royval here. I do want to double check on the line, see if it moved anymore. Looks like we have, because if it gets to minus 200, like, that's going to be very tempting there. Oh, never mind. Went the complete opposite way. He's now minus 250. So money coming back in on Royval. There you have it. Rightfully so. I think Royval gets it done. I like him a lot here. Bailey saying, you the GOAT. Appreciate the content. Appreciate you, Bailey, for hanging out. Royval wins this by finishing, calls on Moreno. Book it. Yeah, I think he finishes him. I'm not sure who he calls out, but I think he does finish him. It can't a certified banger even from under 2.5 misses. Yeah, I think it hits, honestly. Schnell is not taking it to the ground. Yeah, he's not, and that's the problem. That is the problem. You to have success against Royval, you got to take it to the mat. This guy has a terrible takedown defense, and Schnell, he just doesn't wrestle. Cole liking the raw dog. Yeah, me too. I like him a lot in the spot. All right, we'll keep moving on to the next fight. We have Macy Chiasson going against Norma Dumont. So there were 2 weight misses today, as far as I'm concerned, and Norma Dumont was the first weight miss of the day, which is interesting because I could have swore Dumont has missed weight. Like, I want to say she's missed weight like 2 times before, but at the very least, it's been once. So don't know what's going on with Dumont, and she decided to forfeit her 30% of her purse rather than cutting. I think she missed weight by like a half pound. So yeah, missed weight. I think she weighed in at 146.5 there. So yeah, this is a fight where I'm not touching this fight. I think Dumont wins, but laying minus 220 on Norma Dumont just does not seem like the brightest idea. I think she has, some paths to victory here. I think taking down Chiasson would be a very good path to victory. We saw Lena Landsberg have success in terms of taking down Macy. We saw Marion Renault able to take down Macy as well. And I feel like Norma Dumont can kind of implement that. And on top of that, I do like Dumont striking. But, if this fight does stay standing, if Dumont decides not to wrestle, like this fight's going to be very close. Dumont's not going to look minus 220. And on top of that, if Dumont did have a bad weight cut, like we have seen Dumont slow down before, like we saw her slow down in the Felicia Spencer fight, where she kind of like rolled over in that third round. Like this is very sketchy for laying minus 220 on Norma Dumont. So I got to pick Norma Dumont to win because I think she has legit paths to victory, but minus 220, no thank you. Not betting any props on this fight, no thank you. On DraftKings, like you do not want to pay $9,100 for Norma Dumont. Like if anything, it's a dog or pass situation for Macy Chiasson. She's going to be much bigger. Like Macy's huge. She's going to have a 4-inch height advantage and then a 5-inch reach advantage. And again, if Dumont did have a tough weight cut, if her cardio is not on point, like this is going to be a close fight. So give me Dumont, but yeah, minus 220. No, thank you. Absolutely not. Yeah, Weezy did call Macy Chiasson Justin Bieber. That is true. My guy streaming from his wedding, the GOAT. Yeah, wedding was yesterday. We are still on vacation though. Can't blame Dumont. She got that booty. Yep, she's very, very thick. Dog or pass for sure. Yeah, dog or pass if anything. But I'm probably gonna pass. I think the weight miss makes her stronger tomorrow and will take Macy down. Yeah, that's the path. Take her down. Lena Landsberg could do it. 44-year-old Marion Renault could do it. Royval by KO plus 460. What is that on FanDuel or DraftKings? Yeah, that's worth a shot, man. I think that's how he wins. 460. The wedding was awesome. Beach wedding. It was great. We got Uncle Weezy. Brady, you're back. Yeah, I feel like I haven't talked to Weezy in years. It's been forever. I used to talk to him every day. What's up, Weezy? How you doing? Let's go, Brady. Congrats, man. Thank you, guys. Congrats on locking down a real one, Brady. You deserve it. Appreciate that. FanDuel, there you go. Yeah, I like that. All right. Let's keep going. We have Chaos Williams going against Randy Brown, which I cannot wait for this fight. We have Chaos Williams minus 120, Randy Brown plus 120 to the line, or plus 100. The line has not moved all that much all week. And I don't know, I kind of thought it was going to move a little bit in favor of Randy Brown. I saw a lot of people on him earlier in the week, but hasn't moved quite as much as I thought. But yeah, I like Williams here quite a bit. Chaos Williams, this is a guy that, pretty much everybody, but especially me, I wrote him off coming into the UFC. I didn't think he was UFC caliber. He goes in there and starches Alex Morono as like a plus 250 underdog, something like that. It was something crazy. And I remember that because Alex Morono, I remember having a ton of them on DraftKings that day. And Williams went out there and just starched him in 30 seconds. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then after that, they matched him against Abdulrazak Al-Hassan, and I thought Al-Hassan was going to finish him in the first round, and he went out there and finished Al-Hassan in 30 seconds. I'm like, what's going on? And you got to start giving this dude some respect. Like, he went out there against Michel Pereira in a fight that was very, very close. Like, you could have potentially gave that fight to Chaos Williams. It was a very, very close and competitive fight. I thought Williams was winning most of the striking exchanges, but I thought Michel Pereira did a really good job in terms of getting the takedown, sealing off the rounds. But yeah, very, very close competitive fight with Michel Pereira, who's a very good fighter when he's not doing a massive dance routine. But yeah, Williams has definitely impressed. Went out there, beat Semmelsberger pretty convincingly, outlanding him by a ton in each round. And then going out there and knocking out Miguel Baez in the third round. Like, Williams is a guy that he has a ton of power. This guy is very, very powerful. He carries that power through all 3 rounds. And he has cardio and he has output. Like, it's hard to find a guy that has a ton of power, a ton of output, great cardio, and that power carries for 3 rounds. You just don't see it that much, and that's what Chaos Williams does. On top of that, this guy has next-level durability. So never been knocked out, never been subbed. So, yeah, I like Williams quite a bit. But, I get why people are taking the shot on Brown. You have Brown who this guy's probably the more well-rounded fighter. This guy's very good anywhere the fight goes, very good on the mat, very good on the feet, probably even the better striker. But I think Williams, has more power. I think Williams is going to have 15 minutes to find the chin of Brown. And I think most importantly, Williams is more durable. Like Brown's been finished in 3 of his 4 losses, and I think a Williams finish is most definitely on the table here. So, yeah, no bet on this fight for me, but I was very tempted in that Chaos Williams inside the distance, which is plus 160. I think that's solid. I think he finishes Randy Brown. And then I was also looking at the finish only for Chaos Williams, and I'm not sure what that is, but the scorecards equals no action for Chaos Williams would be very interesting because, like I said, we have a guy in Chaos Williams who is next level durable, and then we have a guy like Randy Brown where I actually do question his durability. So Chaos Williams scorecards equals no action on Bet Online is minus 155. I don't hate that. But I'm curious to know what it would be on DraftKings and FanDuel. But yeah, Williams scorecards equals no action. I think if there is a finish in this fight, I think it is on the Chaos Williams side, and I do see people taking a shot on that Brown by decision, which Brown by decision is plus 275. So if you like Brown, I think decision's the way to go, and it makes sense. But I think Williams does finish him at some point in this fight. As far as DraftKings goes, I do like the Williams side quite a bit. 8,300, I think, like I said, if he wins, it's going to be a finish at some point. Randy Brown on DraftKings, don't have a ton. I'm more so on the Williams side myself. And Colt, yeah, that's how I see it right there. Randy Brown decision or chaos inside the distance. That is exactly how I see it. Exactly how I see it. I appreciate you taking the time to do this. Congratulations on your wedding. Hey, no problem. Would not miss it. And thank you. Thank you a lot. Congrats, man. Hope you get a big win tomorrow to pay for the honeymoon. That would be ideal. I do have a big bet on this card. I hope it hits. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Just can't stay at distance with Brown, though he's too long. All he has to do is land that big shot. Plus 175 by a KO. Yeah, I don't think there's a big difference between the KO or the inside the distance. You probably just want to take the inside, but yeah, KO is not terrible. Rude Boy, plus 360 on FanDuel. Very interesting. Yeah, if you think Randy Brown wins, plus 360 is absolutely the way to go. I think that line is kind of nuts. Especially considering he is plus 100 on the money line. Chaos minus 142 finish only on FanDuel. Not terrible. Not terrible. Eric saying such a professional making a video on his wedding trip. Congratulations, Brady. Appreciate your grind, man. No problem. Was able to get everything out for the most part on Sunday night, which was terrible. I did a 15-hour day on Sunday. But I did want to do this show and then my betting breakdown video on Saturday as well. Dope Space, looking forward to you tomorrow to do a song. You weren't able to make it last time. We are expecting a song, Dope Boy, tomorrow. We love your songs there. Super saying I took Randy Brown by decision, plus 360. There you go. There you go. I like it. Let's see. All right. We will keep moving on. And we have, there we go, Donald Cerrone going against Joe Lauzon. Starting the main card here. I cannot wait for this fight. Like people, this fight's going to be good. This fight is going to be very good. Donald Cerrone, minus 185. Joe Lauzon, plus 160. This is a 1-800 gambler fight if I've ever seen one. But I do have a pretty big bet on this fight, and it is on the fight doesn't go to decision. So, yeah, so Bovada was hanging a minus 120 for the fight doesn't go on Sunday. So I placed that bet, and then I went and researched the fight even more. I'm like, my goodness, like this is probably my favorite spot on the entire card. Like this, why is this line only minus 120? So I went and put another 1.2 units on that. And then we talked about it again, I think on Stat Diggers. And then I went to place more money onto this bet. And then they moved the line. So the line was there for a few hours, but they moved it to like minus 180, something like that. And ultimately, I was fine with I have 2.4 units on it total to win 2 units on the fight doesn't go to decision. But yeah, this is a very popular play, it looks like, because it's been getting hit all week, it looks like. It looks like the fight doesn't go to decision is now minus 210. And it absolutely makes sense. And I even think it could honestly be wider. Like this is probably my favorite spot on the entire card is this fight doesn't go decision. Not only do I think it ends inside the distance, I think this probably ends under a 1.5 rounds. Like, to be honest, the way Joe Lauzon fights, this guy is a killer be killed fighter, a 93% finish rate. He's been finished in 9 of his 15 losses. And you can tell by the way this guy goes out there and fights. He's going to go out there. He's going to try to, get you out of there very early. And which is why FanDuel had the Joe Lauzon to win in round 1 by KO at plus 1,500. I talked about it with Wheezy on StatTickers. I'm going to take a shot on that. I'm going to take a shot on that Lauzon KO round 1. But it looks like everybody's taking a shot on that. The line is now gone. It opened up plus 1,500. It is now like plus 900, something like that. But yeah, if you got in on that Lauzon KO round 1, I literally think, honestly, I think that's how he wins, is that KO round 1. Cowboy's been finished 7 times by knockout. When Cowboy's losing, typically it is in that first round. He's a very, very slow starter. You're taking a very slow starter in Donald Cerrone and putting him against a very fast starter and Joe Lauzon. If Joe Lauzon goes out there and wins the fight, it's probably within the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds. If he does not get Cowboy out of there early, I think Cowboy's going to take over after that first 2.5 minutes and finish Lauzon late in that first round. We see it time and time again. Joe Lauzon starts very, very fast, especially this late in his career. He's starting very, very fast. And if he does not get that early finish, he kind of quits. He slows down. So, yeah, I think Lauzon early, round 1. And if not, I think Donald Cerrone finishes him. So, I like the under 2.5. I think it's a very good look. I like the fight doesn't go to decision. I think it's a very good look. And I'm going to double check on the line to see where that's at now. But I do have 2.4 units total, minus 120 on the fight doesn't go to decision. And I probably should have went even harder on that, to be honest. That's probably my favorite play on the entire card. I don't know why Best Fight Odds has the lines all messed up. I can't even find it. I don't even know where it's at. This is terrible. Wait, no, can't find it. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't even know where the lines are at. They keep moving around, but regardless, I like the fight doesn't go. I like the under 2.5 rounds. I love this fight on DraftKings, like Cerrone on DraftKings. I love sitting at 8,800, and then Lauzon. I think if Lauzon wins, it is most definitely in that first round. But they have the under 2.5 rounds, minus 174 on FanDuel. I like that. Minus 180 on BetOnline. And then minus 210, fight doesn't go on BetOnline, looks to be the best line. And I do like that a lot as well. I think this fight does end inside the distance. So like it on DraftKings, like it as a bet. And 2.4 units, minus 120. Love that line. And I should have smashed it for more, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Under 2.5, minus 185. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Congratulations. Appreciate that. Man, I started watching the past few months. Finally get to see you live. You make us so much cash. That's good to hear. That's the goal. That is always the goal, making some money. Cowboy fighting in front of his kid in hometown could get too violent for him. Yeah, we never know which Cowboy is going to show up, right? Hard to back Cerrone at this stage, but this could be a firefight while it lasts. It's absolutely going to be a firefight. Yep, I found out. I don't know what they're doing. I do not know what they're doing. See what else we got in here. Yes, sir. We talked about that a little bit. Oliveira stripped for the title for missing championship weight. Yep. Hearing Cerrone legit say he didn't want to be in the octagon against Conor was a red flag. Give me violence. Yeah, that was a very what if what if he doesn't want to be in there this time, right? Then Lauzon probably goes out there. Lauzon round 1 is interesting. Just in general, plus, I think it's plus 600. It's interesting. These guys are old. I don't think either is finishing anyone. The over 2.5 is a very sneaky play. Yeah, you're definitely going against the grain there. But yeah, I think under 2.5 would be the way I'd look. I see Cowboy getting finished badly. It'll be like Lesnar Mir 2. Never fight in front of your family. Yeah, and then there was another example of that. I think it was, who was it? Was it Mike Grundy? I think it might have been Grundy who went out there and fought in front of his dad. Taro went out there and got submitted early. Congrats, Brady. You found a good one to let you do your MMA videos. Thank you, Tony. All right, we will move on to the next fight. We have Oben St. Preux, Shogun, who, oh my goodness. Weezy saying fight isn't a good decision for this fight, is overpriced and rightfully so. It's hard to see this one going the distance. Yeah, I'm curious to hear what you and Lou said about this on Probability. By the way, if you guys have not seen Probability, including me, we need to go watch it. Go over to the MMA Engine YouTube channel and go watch Probability, where Uncle Weezy and Lou Beccia went through the fights from a data-driven perspective. I'm going to try to watch that sometime within the next day and a half before the fights. Yeah, it was Grundy. All right. We have Ovince St. Preux going against Shogun. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, another really mess of a fight. We have Ovince St. Preux minus 265, Shogun plus 225. I fully expect Ovince St. Preux to kind of just run through Shogun. But, how confident can you be in Ovince St. Preux, who's, got knocked out back-to-back fights. This guy's now 39 years old. He's low volume. He's slow. He's plodding. This could be like a very ugly fight. I think the fight doesn't go, again, is solid. I'm not in love with it. Like I'm in love with the Cerrone Lauzon fight doesn't go. Like I could see this being like a very sloppy, greasy, slow-paced, weird fight. So for that reason, I think the fight doesn't go hits, but minus 220 would have kind of liked a little bit better of a price tag. But yeah, I think Ovince St. Preux wins. I think Ovince St. Preux either knocks out Shogun or takes him down and submits him. I just have not liked what I've saw from Shogun the last couple of years, really. Getting 10-8'd by Paul Craig, Paul Craig looking like, he made Paul Craig look like very, very good on the feet in their first fight. That was a draw. And then on top of that, Paul Craig made him tap the strikes, went to a very close split decision, I believe, against Lil Nog, a 44, 45-year-old Lil Nog. It's just not good. And, Shogun, dude's a legend, but, 40 years old at this point, just does not look, great at all. And I think OSP still has a little bit left in the tank, although he has been knocked out in his last two fights. Mess of a fight. This is a big 1-800-gambler fight, but you got to go with OSP here. OSP 9,200. I do like him on some Draftkings. I think if he does win, you got to imagine he finishes Shogun. OSP inside the distance minus 115. It's honestly not horrible. Like I'd be kind of surprised if he didn't go out here and finish Shogun, whether it's knockout, whether it's a submission. Shogun finished a 9 of 12 losses, OSP 80% finish rate. He has power, has a good submission game, and I just think he's the fresher fighter overall. So OSP inside the distance, but my goodness, what a mess. But yeah, OSP should get this done. I don't know if I could bet it here. Back-to-back fight fight doesn't go to decision for Cowboy and OSP. Yeah, I think they both finish. OSP by finish plus 115. Yeah, plus 115. Yeah. Where's that plus money at? I don't mind that at all. I do not mind plus money on it. I couldn't find plus money myself. Shogun looks terrible. Paycheck. You never know. Could be. Any concerns with OSP showing up in a tout weigh-ins? Hope he doesn't gas. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll have the better gas tank. Shogun straight up shell himself. And yeah, you could kind of say the same thing about OSP, but OSP looks bad, but he doesn't look like completely washed, Like it doesn't even look like OSP's 39. He looked really good against Alonzo Menefield just 2 years ago. He looked good against Mikhail Olszewczuk. He looked bad against Rothwell, but that was a close fight. He knocked him down. Looked bad against Jamal Hill, but that's Jamal Hill. Looked bad against Tanner Bozer. I don't know. But Shogun I don't know. Shogun has looked horrendous as of late. So yeah, give me OSP to win, but hard to bet on a fight like this. You never minus 115. Yeah, I wish it was plus 115. If it was plus money, I might be tempted, but hard to lay chalk on a fight like this. Smash that like, peeps. I agree. Thank you all for hanging out. All right, let's keep moving on. We have Michael Chandler going against Tony Ferguson. Yeah, we have Chandler minus 400, Ferguson plus 300. I guess the popular play of the week is the over 1.5, and I do agree. I want to say I saw it on DraftKings Sportsbook on, I want to say Monday. I want to say I woke up Monday and I saw it there, and it was like minus 125. No, I think it was Sunday morning. I woke up. It was really early. I saw it was minus 125. I was like, well, okay. Did not look into it as much as I wanted to. And then time went on, checked it later. It was like minus 155. So I would have loved that minus 125, but missed out on that. But yeah, I think it does go over. I think the line is definitely wide. Like Ferguson has not looked like himself in the slightest, but this guy's still very durable. Are odds makers thinking like Chandler just comes out here and starches him in the first round? I'm not so sure about that. Like the amount of hard shots the dude ate against Justin Gaethje was insane. And even that, like, it was a good stop. It was a really good stoppage, but he probably could have finished the fight. Like the stoppage was good, but I don't know. I feel like he could have kept going. Like he wasn't completely out, but he was very, very hurt. And he took 143 significant strikes from Justin Gaethje up until that point. I just don't see Chandler going out there and starching Ferguson early on. I see this being a little more competitive than the line indicates. And I feel like if Chandler is going to look minus 400, he's going to come out here and wrestle. But I went and watched a good amount of Chandler fights, back to his Bellator fights. And well, I want to say I watched like a good 6, 7, 8 fights of Chandler. And he's not wrestling as much as you'd like to see if you're going to lay minus 400, right? Like if you're laying minus 400 on Michael Chandler, you want him to go out there and fight like Beneil Dariush did. Take him down 3 times, control him for over 10 minutes. Charles Oliveira took him down 3 times, controlled him for over 10 minutes. Michael Chandler, wrestling background. Michael Chandler, BJJ black belt. I think he has all the tools to go out there and take down Ferguson and control him for over 10 minutes. It's just, will he do that? He has not shown that thus far in the UFC, completing only 2 takedowns, racking up, actually only 1 takedown, racking up like less than a minute of control time. And then you go and watch some of his fights outside the UFC, and a couple of fights he's going out there and wrestling, but he typically he's just standing and banging with these guys, and it's working. But is that going to work against Ferguson? I mean, it could, but is he going to look minus 400? I don't really think so. So, and on top of that, Ferguson is getting up there in age. What is he, 37, 38 years old? And then we see that Chandler is 35. So he's not like young in his own right, but I still got to go Chandler, but I just really struggle to lay the minus 400 on that guy. I think he wins, but I think it's a lot more competitive than the line does indicate. And, what is his gas tank going to be like? Chandler is a guy that does slow down as the fight goes on, and on the feet, Ferguson does put on a very high pace. He does throw a lot of volume. He is still very dangerous, but I got to go Chandler because I think the blueprint is literally there. Like if you're Chandler, take this guy down, control him. The blueprint's laid out, follow that blueprint, you win the fight. But if he comes out here and stands and bangs with Ferguson, I just struggle to see how he's minus 400. So I'm not playing Chandler at this price tag. And on DraftKings, I'm not paying 9,600 for Chandler. If anything, it's a pump play for Tony Ferguson. And shout out to the guys that did the DraftKings show on Wednesday. And I think I might, use Ferguson as my cash punt this week. I think Ferguson as a cash punt is interesting. Just banking on his durability, banking on that high volume. He's dangerous as well. And, I don't think the line should be where it's at. Am I going to take a shot on 38-year-old Ferguson? No, thank you. I'm good. But I will not be betting the Michael Chandler side. Absolutely not. Not at this price tag. 1 unit on Chandler, first round KO. I just don't see it. I mean, could it happen? I guess anything could happen, but I think people are counting out the durability of Ferguson. Can be Ferguson round 3 decision plus 500. Interesting line there. Hey, look at what he did to Hooker in the first round, but that's Dan Hooker though. I had to throw 0.25 units on El Kukui to win in round 3 at plus 2,900 and roll with him one more time. Hey, if he wins, honestly, it's probably a late finish and it's probably in round 3. So I do like that shot plus 2,900. Tony by Doctor stoppage from cuts. Could happen. Gus with the super sticker. Appreciate you, Gus, for the super sticker there. Chandler is too I kind of think the same thing, though. I really think the same thing. Tony going to wrestle. You think Tony's going to wrestle Chandler? I don't know. That first round prop for Gaethje is mad hot now that Oliveira missed away. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Very low conviction comment here, but I think Chandler has no gas tank. Ferguson is an interesting dog, and Ferguson seems chilled out at the press conference. Yeah, I mean, if anything, it's dog or pass, but I still got to go with Chandler, honestly. Had to restart my channel, but I'm back. Welcome back. Got suspended. Oh, no. I can't believe Oliveira got stripped, and if he wins, he still doesn't get the title yet. It's crazy. Chandler, fight goes the distance of plus 150. You like it? I kind of do like it, actually. I kind of do like – I think the fight goes over 1.5, over 2.5 are all good spots. And people have been smashing the over 1.5 all week, it looks like. The over 1.5 at this point is – I want to say it's like minus 170 at this point. So many fights going on tonight. There it is. So it's, oh my goodness. Minus 190, minus 168 still on FanDuel. Yeah, I bet a lot of people got in early though. See where it opened up at. It opened up on Bet Online at minus 145, hung around minus 150. Yeah, I think the over minus 168 on FanDuel 1.5. I think it's solid. I really do. So, but we'll move on to the co-main event. And we have Rose Namajunas going against Carla Esparza. And yeah, I don't know. This is a fight where I really liked Rose early on. And then I looked into it more. And I still like Rose to win. I think it's a good spot for her. But I feel like Carla's definitely going to have some success, at least early on. I just struggle to see Carla Esparza taking down and holding down Rose for 25 minutes. But yeah, a lot of people seem to be on the Esparza side this week. Looks like the line just came down a little bit. Rose minus 205. I saw her minus 220 at some point. But yeah, Esparza, on paper, she has all the tools to have success in this fight. She averages over 3 takedowns per 15 minutes. Rose Namajunas has a very poor takedown defense. I want to say at 47%. But, although Rose is getting taken down, we got to take into account that she has a very, very good ground game. She's very good off her back, very dangerous off her back. She's active off her back, and I think that's very important. Like, this is not the same Rose Namajunas as back in 2014 when these fighters both fought before. She's improved her ground game quite a bit. And what I liked in the Zhang Weili fight, first of all, you don't like to see that Zhang Weili took her down like 5 times, but what you do like to see is she is very active. She is very willing to work her way back up to her feet. I hate when fighters get taken down and they're content to just close their guard and just give up the round. Like, you do not see that from Rose. She's throwing up submissions. She's working her way back up. And if she's able to do that, if she's able to make Esparza work, if she's able to work her way back up to her feet for 25 minutes, like, it's going to be very hard for Esparza to take down and hold down Rose Namajunas and do that for 25 minutes. But yeah, minus 205. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be competitive. I feel like from a live betting standpoint, you could probably get a better price on Rose. I feel like Esparza probably wins the first round just by getting the takedowns. But, as the fight goes on, is Esparza going to be able to keep this up for 25 minutes, especially if Rose is getting up? And then on top of that, what really sold me on the Rose side is you take a look at Esparza throughout her career, and her fights take place in control position about like 50% of the time. So 50% she is in control position, and then 50% she's not. And if this fight stays standing for 50% of the time, Rose is gonna win the fight. On the feet, it's not even close. Whereas on the mat, like, if yes, Esparza can take her down, absolutely. That is a very big hole in Rose Namajunas' game, is that takedown defense. But I do think Rose will be able to get up. I don't think Carla's going to get off a lot of damage. I know she got off a lot of damage against Yan Xiaonan, but I do think Rose's ground game is so much better than Yan Xiaonan's. So yeah, I like Rose here. Don't like the minus 205, to be honest, but I'm going to be taking a look at it from a live betting standpoint. I think Esparza has success early, but I think as the fight goes on, it's going to be harder and harder for Esparza to take down and hold down Rose Namajunas. So from a betting perspective, going to look at it from a live bet standpoint. From a DraftKings perspective, I kind of lean to the Esparza side. She's going to get takedowns. She's going to get them early, and I do think they're probably going to add up. And even in a loss, like, Esparza can score very well. Like, say she gets 5-6 takedowns, and she loses the fight. Maybe some ground strikes, some control time. I think she's a pretty solid cash game play. Especially for cash, I like Esparza quite a bit. If Esparza was somehow to win the fight, like, she's going to score a ton of points. That means she's going to be able to take down Rose and hold her down and do that for 25 minutes. So you got to like Esparza on DraftKings. Don't really like Rose that much on DraftKings at 8,900, but I do like Esparza on DraftKings. So the pick is Rose, but I'm not laying minus 205. I think she does get it done, though. I think on the feet, it's Rose all day, and I think if she does get taken down, she's able to get back up. What was his max bet? It is coming up very, very soon. This fight makes me nervous. It's a good fight. Rose can grapple. Do not discount her. Yeah, I agree. She can grapple. But her takedown defense is horrible. Like, we got to admit that. We got to admit her takedown defense is so bad. But, yeah, she can absolutely grapple. If Carla doesn't get the takedown, then she is screwed. Much like when she fought Joanna, I'm worried about Rose getting wrestle humped, though. Yeah, I think she is screwed if she can't get the takedown. I think she will get him, but the question is, can she hold Rose down? I don't think so. Rose is a good grappler, but not from her back. I think the line should be closer, but I also don't think I agree. Like if this fight was 3 rounds, I probably would lean towards Esparza, but the 5-round aspect makes me lean more towards Rose. I just don't see Esparza doing this for 5 rounds. Esparza by UD plus 300 is tempting. I don't think she can finish Rose now. I don't think she finishes Rose now. I don't. I know she finished Yan Xiaonan, but again, Rose is a much better grappler than Yan Xiaonan. Chandler by KO and minus 110. I'm kind of leaning more towards the decision. Was so mad Cheeto could have finished Font like 2 to 3 times, but in like 4 or 5 rounds, like why? Yeah, I know. I was upset as well, especially when you have those 3, 4, 5 sprinkles for a monster night. I feel like Carla is eventually ready with her getting married next. Is she really getting married next week? Is that true? Like yeah, it's not. Doesn't seem like the best idea, right? This is such a high-level fight. I'm leaning Esparza, but not betting it. Yeah, I have no money on this fight, but I will have some Esparza on DraftKings. You think he's going to get slammed KO'd? Will Trevor Whitman be in the corner of both Rose and Gaethje? I'd imagine, right? Should be. I think I'm going to see what the live line is on Rose because she always adjusts. Yeah, I think the live line could be the way to go. Married next week and honeymoon following week. My goodness. Yeah, that's weird. They moved the wedding so she could fight. Wow. There we go. All right. Let's see how that works for her. All right, guys. 227 in here, which is awesome. Did start 2 hours early. Thank you all for hanging out. If you guys could, again, go check out the MMA Engine YouTube channel. I'm going to start going live on there. This show is getting moved onto there, I believe, next week. So if you guys are wondering where I'm at, I'm going to be over at the MMA Engine. And of course, we're doing a ton of content over there. I'm going to be back in the mix next week. Probability, main event deep dive, all the good stuff, just tons of content. And yeah, busted up face for a wedding. I like it. All right, here we go. Let us go to the main event, and yeah, a lot to talk about. So this is crazy. Oliveira. I looked the other day, and Oliveira is like minus 190. Money pouring in on Oliveira, and I got to check the line to see what it's at now. And I'm honestly curious, and we'll talk about this on Best Bet tomorrow with me, Wheezy, Narco Cop, and Eric, and we'll see what the line is tomorrow. But I kind of have a feeling it's going to continue to close. So we have Oliveira is now minus 135 and Justin Gaethje plus 115. The best line you can get on Justin Gaethje looks to be plus 136 on PointsBet. The best line you can get on Oliveira looks to be at minus 135 on BetOnline. So money is pouring in on Justin Gaethje. So I did pick Oliveira to win the fight. And I'll tell you what, I'm sticking by that pick. I really am. But if you are on Oliveira, obviously it's not something you want to hear, right? Like if you bet Oliveira at minus 150, minus 160, minus 170, like that's not something you want to hear. It's not something you want to see. You don't want to see him going out there and missing weight by a half a pound. You don't want to see him going out there and trying to cut that half pound for 1 hour while his opponent, Justin Gaethje, is rehydrating, recovering, and he's still killing himself to make that weight. And on top of that, he couldn't make that weight. So you obviously do not want to see that. So you got to understand why money is coming in on Justin Gaethje. But, just because Oliveira missed weight, that absolutely does not mean he can't win the fight. Like it's just because he missed weight, like he can still win the fight. It's just he can't win the title. And if people are going to bring up the motivation, and yeah, you should. What is Oliveira's motivation for this fight now? If he wins the fight, he's not champ. If Gaethje wins the fight, he is champ. So yeah, what does that do to Charles Oliveira's mentality? How is he going to approach that fight? And you can look into all those things. But for me, I have my first max bet of the year, and I guess I kind of jumped the gun a little bit early. I wanted to place this bet before I went on my trip, so I didn't have to check the odds while I was driving and all that good stuff. So I really liked the unders in this fight, and me and Uncle Weezy talked about it on Stat Diggers. I mean, these finish numbers are just crazy. They're crazy. Charles Oliveira, a 91% finish rate in 40 fights. And he's been finished in 7 of his 8 losses. Like, this guy, finisher, and this guy absolutely can be finished. Justin Gaethje, 87% finish rate, finished in 100% of his losses. So a combined, 89% finish rate. And then on top of that, a combined 10 of 11 losses inside the distance. I forget the exact stat. So Oliveira, I want to say he's had a ton of UFC fights, but I want to say he's been over 2.5 rounds like 3 or 4 times in his entire career in the UFC. Like, it's crazy. Like, this is a guy that, he finishes early, and you can see why. You take a look at his last couple fights, for example, like against Dustin Poirier, he went out there, and as soon as the fight started, he started pressuring Poirier, which is awesome, and which is what you want him to see in this fight here. It's just instant pressure. I think whoever pressures in this fight is going to win the fight. If Oliveira comes in here and does not pressure, if he does, like somebody said, change his game plan because he missed weight, Gaethje probably knocks him out in the first round. But if Oliveira comes in here with that game plan of pressuring, of pushing Gaethje against the cage, trying to take him down, working the body, trying to break Gaethje, I think he can still win. But yeah, you do not like to see that weight miss. You do not like him to see cutting weight for an extra hour and not being successful. But yeah, Oliveira, this guy got hurt bad in the Chandler fight. Chandler was close to getting him out of there in the first round, comes out in the second, finishes Chandler. Dustin Poirier had him on skates like in the first round a couple times. He was hurting Oliveira bad, didn't drop him. Actually, I think he did drop him, but he hurt him bad a couple times. And then Oliveira comes back in the second round, takes him down, controls him. And then in the third round, like, Dustin had nothing left. Dustin Poirier, who has some of the best cardio, right? Like, we've seen him go 5 rounds many times, and he broke Dustin Poirier. So, yeah, you don't like to see the weight miss, but I think Oliveira definitely can still win this fight. But regardless, like, I think this fight is it's close. I think Justin Gaethje is very live to knock out Oliveira probably in the first round. But I think Oliveira still, although he did miss weight, has more paths to victory. I think Oliveira can knock out Justin Gaethje. I think Oliveira can hurt Gaethje really bad. I think he can work the body. And if this fight hits the mat, even once for a split second, I mean, the fight's over. Like, the ground game of Oliveira is just levels above a guy like Justin Gaethje. Like, Oliveira is out there submitting black belts, and Gaethje's grappling is just not where it needs to be. And he has good takedown defense, really good takedown defense, but if there's like a slip, or if Oliveira is able to get Gaethje against the cage, drag him down, take his back standing, the fight's over. So yeah, it's rough, but I do have my first max bet of the year, and I have the under 3.5 rounds, and I have 5 units on it. So I got it at -240, and I believe it's like -250 right now on DraftKings. So I wasn't really sure where the line was going to go, but I did see DraftKings had it like -225 a couple days ago. But yeah, I like the under 3.5. Honestly, I like the under 2.5, but I just want that extra round. And so yeah, 5 units on that, -240, 5 units to win a little over 2. I love that spot. I think the under 3.5 rounds hits. I think the under 2.5 rounds hits. I wouldn't be shocked if the under 1.5 rounds hits. And the under 1.5 is sitting at +160, but yeah, or +155 now for the under 1.5. But yeah, I like the under 3.5 the most, I'd say. I was going to max bet the fight doesn't go to decision, but FanDuel put it out at like -650. It is. So you can't really bet that, but I do think you can bet those under 2.5s and 3.5s. I know a lot of people are on those under 2.5s. Under 2.5 currently -164. I do like that. But like I said, give me that extra round. Give me that extra round just in case. I like that. And then it went pretty heavy on it. So yeah, first max bet of the year. Hope it cashes. Somebody said, does Oliveira missing weight hurt the unders, or does it help the unders? And I really don't know. Honestly, it can go either way, but I do like that spot one way or another. So give me Oliveira. Not going to switch my pick or anything, but to be honest, I wasn't that confident in Oliveira in the first place, but I am confident in some violence here. Brandon is a believer in Charles. Oliveira is still going to submit Justin. Yeah, I think, him missing weight, like, it's not completely over for him. Gaethje +115 on Bovada. That switches Brady. Thank you, Bo. Let's see if I missed anything. Okay, there we go. Gaethje still put the right black off the cage -200. If he wins, for sure. Charles is a killer. He's going to try to finish Justin for sure. That's what I'm thinking. Like, he's not going to change his game plan. But, what is his cardio going to look like if this gets extended, right? Justin Gaethje by decapitation. And we'll take a look at those Justin Gaethje props as well. I remember somebody in the chat saying Gaethje round 1 or round 2 KO is plus 330. Like, that's interesting. Gaethje getting the KO, in my opinion. Don't see Oliveira getting Justin down. Yeah, I don't really either. I don't really either, but especially out in the open. But if he can push him against the cage, I think that's where he can get him down and take his back standing. I'll parlay the fight doesn't go decision. Yeah, I think that's a good spot. Just like, what do you parlay it with though? Kind of struggling to find parlay pieces, but I think, yeah, it's a good parlay piece. Parlay pieces this week: Kletzen Rodriguez, decent. Andre Fiallo, decent, but no parlays for me this week. Chandler or Fiallo on DK? Yeah, no Chandler for me on DK for the most part. He's expensive. Fiallo for me. I think Fiallo knocks out VanCamp round 1. All right, so I'll quickly go through my bets. Yeah, not a ton of bets, but pretty heavy on the bets this week. So 2 units on Royval Schnell under 2.5 rounds plus 120. 2.4 units total on Cerrone Lauzon fight doesn't go to decision minus 120. 5 units on the under 3.5 rounds Oliveira Gaethje minus 240, and then 1.25 units on Melissa Gatto scorecards equals no action minus 125. Short and sweet. The spots I was looking at, over 1.5 for Chandler Ferguson. That line's moved a ton throughout the week. Don't know if I still like it at the minus 170 or whatever. I think that's solid. I don't hate the Shogun OSP fight doesn't go. I think it hits, but just a fight I don't really want to put my money on. Chaos Williams inside the distance, and Chaos Williams scorecards equals no action is interesting. Brandon Royval by knockout plus 400 is interesting. I think the Lima Ivanov fight doesn't go. It's interesting. Ivanov by submission plus 400 I think is sneaky, but would like a better line. And outside of that, nothing else really stuck out. Fiallo should win. Fiallo should win in round 1, but I'm not sure what Fiallo round 1 is. But I think that's something to look at it well, depending on the odds. But yeah, short and sweet. Looks like 4 or 5 bets, and hoping to hit those. Charles Oliveira is the real champ no matter what. He takes Gaethje's head tomorrow. We will definitely see. Charles can knock him out. I think he rips the body, Justin falls, and Charles just nonstop throwing hooks when he's down on his knees. And there's Herb with the stop. Shout out to Herb Dean. Now, Oliveira can knock him out for sure. I say Charles lost already. That's how it feels, and the reason why my money is pouring in on Gaethje. Yeah, that's people can think that for sure, but I don't know. We still gotta see him fight tomorrow, and I'm excited for it, guys. So, yeah, I do want to say again, thank you all for hanging out. Was not expecting over 200 of you in here, but really do appreciate you guys hanging out once again. Betting breakdown video should be out early tomorrow. Best bet is going to be at 4:00 p.m. Eastern time. Uncle Weezy, Narco Cop, Eric Bets Fights. And yeah, guys, that's about it. So leave a like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Go subscribe to the MMA Engine. We will talk to you all very soon. Thank you for hanging out, and best of luck for UFC 274. We have a banger of a card. OG Brady, long time no see. Let's cash and stack like flapjacks. I agree. Shout out to SB. KO Sensei tomorrow. Let's go. Samuel saying congrats on your wedding. Thank you, Samuel. Best of luck, everybody. We'll talk to you soon, and good luck.